What is going on, everyone? Thank you for tuning in again to Film Family. Today we're going to be talking about the new film, Downton Abbey. You'll notice my brother is not here because he didn't see the movie. So it's just going to be Taj and I talking about it today.
Yeah.
I didn't know it was pronounced Downton. I just learned that, by the way. I thought it was downtown.
I just learned that as well.
Do you watch the show?
I'm very aware of the show. I've never watched it. I know people that have watched it, but I've never seen. I hadn't seen even a millisecond of it.
Really? Yeah. I just learned about the show because of the movie.
Okay.
And I guess it's been done for a while.
Yeah.
But they had a pretty solid run.
Yeah. It's one of those. And it's interesting because, this review is going to be very interesting because you're talking about two people that didn't know a lick about it.
Anything.
But at the same time, that's a good litmus test for all of you that haven't seen the series either, because we're going to let you know what it was like to experience it with people.
I mean, right out the gate, if you haven't seen the show, I don't know if this movie is for you.
I can tell you it's
like you're going to be very lost in it. I don't know. Like I don't want to knock this movie because I haven't seen the show. And truthfully, there was one, like I was kind of like dogging this movie a little bit in my head because I didn't really understand it while I was watching it. But there was that scene. I don't remember her name, but I'm going to call her Professor McGonagall from Harry Potter. Yes. And she was talking to either her granddaughter or her daughter about she was about to die. And I just thought that scene was very well done with the music and their acting. And that was like the changing moment for what I thought about the film.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah, and that was pretty late in the movie. That was almost at the end. You know what I mean? But looking back on it, I don't want to say that this is a bad movie because I can't say that. Do you know what I mean?
It's definitely not a bad movie. What it is that it's a bad movie for people that haven't seen it. Like they don't catch you up, or they don't like say you kind of are just thrown in the deep end.
Exactly.
If you haven't seen the series, I think for people that have seen the series, the people that I watched it with, the audience was clapping at times, and I was like, okay, maybe like during a part when the two people got together and they're all, and I'm like, oh wow, okay, maybe there's been like 3 seasons of them flirting or whatever, and this is like the reward. But for me, I was just like, okay, that's two people just that like each other now, and so I definitely would recommend if you haven't seen any part, and I don't even think like a 10-minute catch up will get you there. Like really, it's like I would almost recommend watching the series. But at that point, you're committed anyway.
So I actually saw it with my girlfriend and her friend, my girlfriend's friend is a fan of the show, and she had watched it.
And the whole thing?
The whole season. Okay, she's a big fan. And she said that she was really happy with the movie. So if you are a fan of the show, I think that it kind of comes in as a conclusion because the fans had been asking for maybe another season. I'm not sure. But a movie came in, picked up where the show ended. And a little fun fact, obviously we didn't know this. I don't remember. I think he was a butler or the main guy who was in charge. He had been a gay character for a while, but he had never met another gay man, I think, on the show. So that whole meeting for him going to the bar, that was supposed to be a really big thing for that. And I felt it in the audience. Oh, yeah. I just didn't know what was going on,
Yeah.
I thought I don't know, the pageantry and the set design, if you even call it that, because I'm assuming it was filmed on a great location. But the technical part and the visual aspect of it, I was very impressed.
It was very well shot, very well made. I think I was just lost. I joke about it almost like I needed subtitles because in a way I was just like, what's going on here? And but I would definitely say it's one of those things because I know I watch seasons of certain movies and then or certain shows, and then they get a movie, and if you just watch the movie, you'd probably be lost, like because there's all this character development that you missed. Or all these plots that you missed, and so I think it's just I don't know. This is a hard one to review.
I'm trying to think of a movie that's like been after a show. What's one that would come to mind?
Well, I'm an X-Files fan, so there's been plenty of X-Files movies. And those are rewarding to fans in that way. There's also I was a big oh my gosh. Well, I know I think the movie was called Serenity. I just drew a blank of what the show was called.
The only thing I could think of, because I have not seen the X-Files. I've heard they're really cool, but from what I know about them, it sounds also very similar to the Twilight Zone, which had a movie, but that works because it has such a a non-linear storyline. Like it can just kind of switch off and be to anything, you know? I don't know if that's what X-Files is like. That's what I'm assuming. It could just kind of take place within a classified.
It was. There could be a one-off, but then there was a lot of character development that did get rewarded in there as well. And I think that also, and this is just going off of comparing it to Downton Abbey. Yeah. There's certain characters that are brought back that you haven't seen in a little while. Like that's exciting to see and all that stuff. So, I think we should discuss, did this make you want to see the series? For someone that has just seen the movie, like, are you kind of like interested?
Everything in this movie is actually in the negative for me. Okay. And so that's why I don't want to talk about the movie too bad, because I personally do not like monarchies. I don't like bourgeoisie. No. I don't like the elitist stuff. And the one thing I didn't understand is the king's servants are coming and telling the people, the Downton Abbey servants, that you're not going to be working. If you told me that, I'd be like, yeah, sure, no problem. Yeah. They're like, no, we need to work. You know, like I don't get that. Yeah. But so there was that whole thing, and then
I think it's just a class thing, even between the servants. Yeah. You know, like you're not allowed to do this because you're not worthy of doing this.
And I have a personal issue with stuff like that. So that's why I don't think that show would really fit for me. Yeah, you know?
I do too, definitely. But oh gosh, I mean. Yeah, I don't like watching that stuff.
You know, and that's why a lot of it is, on top of it, I felt like the humor was too intelligent for me because a lot of it was British, you know, satire and wit, quick comebacks. Like I think someone said something along the lines of, oh, I didn't know I was giving you a compliment. And then they gave him a sly look and everybody laughed at that. But it just kind of...
I don't think it's Brit humor, because the funny thing is that I saw a mom and a little daughter, and the daughter was like with it, like she was laughing at everything that everyone else was laughing at. So I think it just has to do with not being kind of absorbed in that culture.
That's pretty crazy, because everybody in my theater looked like they were signed up for an AARP.
Oh, most of them crazy. In my theater too. But then I saw this little girl, and I was like, oh, you know, and it made me feel weird. I was like, you know. But yeah, she was on it. Like she had obviously gotten caught up or was something with her mom.
And I mean, from what I've got though, like after talking about why I wouldn't like this show, I feel that from the movie, because obviously this had a fan base and a following for a long time. I feel that without having seen the show, I feel that I can assume that they have an in-depth character development, something along the lines of like a Game of Thrones or Breaking Bad, where it goes off on different areas. So in that regards, I would say it's probably not that bad of a show to watch. Yeah. But as far as topic and content, it's probably not something that I would watch from that film.
Yeah, I would easily say it's not something that I would watch, which is the reason why I never did watch it. You know, even people that have said, "Oh, it's a great thing," but I do know people that did see the movie that were fans of the show and loved it. Yeah, for that reason. So I can't really give it a. It's hard to give. I can't really give it a number because I don't feel like I'm qualified to give it a number.
That I agree with that as well.
Unless we do it in terms of like just someone that's never seen this show, like because certain movies can do that. They can do that where it's like you don't have to see the show or you didn't have to follow it, and because they do a good job of catching you up, or at least reintroducing stuff. But this was almost like if you haven't seen the series, then
and I agree with that. It kind of just leaves you like a deer in headlights. Like you have no idea what's going on, but it's happening. Yeah. So I would actually personally, if I was going to rate it, I would rate it in two ways. One as a film, and then the other is what I would expect if you would like it had you seen the show, because I talked to the person. As a film, like I said, I really liked the outfits, the set, and I don't know if they filmed on location, like at an actual castle, because it was very well done, very. It looked authentic, you know, and even their cars, like those cars are super old and not easy to get. Yeah. And they had the pageantry with the king and the horses, and like a lot of technical stuff came together to really make it good or well made. I loved the soundtrack, and I felt like I really wasn't paying attention to it that much until that scene where she was talking about how she's gonna die. Yeah. And they had the strings in there, and that just pulls on the heartstrings, you know, and it gets you. And then again, I think that for the type of conversations they were having, I think that the acting was up to par. Like it wasn't, oh, I'm not believing that. You know what I mean? Yeah. But just because of the thing, I can't really knock it. So for that, I would say I would give this movie around a 7. because I wasn't mad that I was sitting there watching this for 2 hours. You know, and again, I don't want to knock the movie because I can't give it a chance because I haven't seen it. But if you are a fan of the show, from what I've heard from the people that I saw it with and the people that were leaving, I would say that it's probably close to an 8 or a 9 for that. It had a pretty happy ending.
Yeah, I'm going to go first with the if you're a fan review. For me, I feel like just judging from the audience, and I think it was very rewarding to the people that had stuck through the series and all that stuff. So I would probably give it a 9 in that sense because it was very well done. Maggie Smith was great in it. That's the one that's the professor.
Oh, fantastic.
You know, and someone had told me, oh, you know, because I had not seen anything, but she's like, oh, you got to, you know, Maggie Smith is great. So I was like, okay. But she was, you know, and so in that way, I would definitely say if you follow this show or the series, then you're going to enjoy it. It's going to be and pleasing for you.
Without actually having seen the show.
Yeah.
But from what we've seen.
I mean, we could, but for me, halfway through, I was debating if I should leave or not, which I've never done. I'm like, if I just like leave, will they know? Like, you know?
Yeah.
But then I was like, no, I'm going to stay. I'm going to have to review this. And then it picked up, you know, then it started picking up and there's action started happening. Like, you know, there's an assassination attempt.
Yeah.
I'm like, okay, I'll stay around a little longer. What's going on? And then, then it started getting interesting. Then I started getting invested in characters, and I was like, okay, that, you know, I can see what the appeal would be in that way. So
definitely,
I'm not mad I saw this show or saw this movie. I had a busy week, so maybe that's another thing. It's like I would have rather been home. But saying that, I'd probably give it a 7.
Yeah,
to be honest,
which I think is fair because from when we were talking about our ratings, that's like. It's a movie that is not bad, but it's a passing
very
grade.
well made, and it's well acted. So that's why I can't even I appreciate all that.
Definitely,
but completely lost. Like when you say lost, like there's like scale from 1 to 10 of lost. I was like a 2. I
don't know anybody's name.
Yeah, I still
right now I have nobody's name.
Maggie Smith is, and she's not. That's not even her character.
What's her? You know what I mean? Like I don't know any of the names.
Yeah, that was the thing for me. So, but. I think that's a fair review.
Yeah.
In terms of that.
And I actually, truthfully, I really enjoyed. I enjoyed the idea of having to review this type of movie because it's so far from anything we would see. So I feel like coming at it from like trying to have an open mind or a critiquing, you know, what was good, what was bad, is really cool, and I'm excited to see like how that kind of applies to another type or style of movie.
Oh, that's a good point. Good point. Because I saw it before he saw it. You saw it the next day, and I said enjoy.
Oh, really?
I said enjoy. I said enjoy the experience because I knew that's what it was in a way. But yeah, this has been fun. This has been interesting.
Definitely.
But I'm very curious to hear what you guys have to say. If you have seen the series, let us know what and the movie. Let us know. If you've just seen the series and you're thinking about seeing the movie, let us know what you think of the series. And if you're kind of like, if you were dragged by a friend to see the movie, were you just as lost as we were?
Also, I would be very interested to know if you had seen the movie and were able to catch up. Like maybe we're just slow and we can't, catch on to something
maybe
like that.
Let's ask for the foreign audience.
Yeah.
Because maybe they were like, oh, yeah.
You understand all this,
Us Americans.
That's what I think it is, man. I think we're just like disconnected. We don't know.
Yeah. So.
But thank you guys for tuning in. We will see you next time. Don't forget to tell us what you think down below. Leave a like and subscribe, and we'll see you next time.
Adios.